So let's see. Disengaged guy says disengaged. You think just like I'm not like I'm just I don't care anymore, or he was engaged and no longer engaged. What do you think?
Or he's trying to disengage you.
Or trying to disengage you, maybe. Right. Why don't we use software like Zillow or something similar to generate all agreements and promote the selling and buying of homes directly from owner to owner? Looks like Facebook Marketplace for homes. You reach directly to owner, reach out to the owner directly, and you reach an AI assistant that checks AI. Here we go. That checks your eligibility to talk with owners. Then discussions begin. Then owners set terms to negotiations. Sounds stupidly simple in my opinion. So basically, what we're saying is, why do we need real estate agents? Mm-hmm. Some cases you don't. Many cases you do. Couple of things. Number one, buying a home is never. Number one, you don't just buy a home on your own. There's so many people you have to have involved in buying a home. And why is that? It's likely the largest purchase you're ever going to make, right? So let's just take the average $300,000 for a home, right? You're going to spend $300,000.
Yeah. Where have you been getting your averages from?
No, higher now.
710,000 is the last.
Get out!
number.
No, maybe here, not in the United States, across the country. $700,000, not a chance.
Go ahead, finish while I look it up.
Whatever the average is, you're spending a lot of money on a home, and it's going to be over a long period of time. You need people to help you buy it because you're not an expert. You're not in that industry. You don't do it every day, right? So put the real estate agent aside for just a second. We'll get to them last because they're the most important, right? You need the inspector to go out there to look at the house and make sure that everything's on the up and up, right? Can't tell you how many times when we went to look for houses, we found cracks in the foundation, roofing issues, plumbing issues, etc. that the inspector found immediately. Best $500 I ever spent, right? Because we would have bought that place. We're stuck with it. Go ahead. You're dying to say something.
So the average price for a new home in 24 was...
A newly built home?
It just says...
It's a newly built home. And I'll tell you why. Go ahead.
So it's $523,600.
Yes.
The median price was $421,000. Mm-hmm. The average home price...
Yes.
was $420,400.
Okay, so about $100,000 more than I thought.
Yeah.
All right, so do you know why the new homes are so much more expensive though?
Oh, because everything is more expensive, and
well, it's not just that. It's also because
labor.
they're not building new homes at 1,500 square feet.
Oh no,
they're building with 3,000 square feet, 3,500 square feet.
The average size of a new home built in the U.S. has
huge,
tripled over the last 20
Which
years.
means that guess who's not buying new homes? Well, young couples that don't have kids yet that don't need the 3,500 square feet. They can't afford it anyway, right? So that's why new homes are so much more expensive. Because they're so much bigger.
Yeah,
I get it. I'm just saying that's the reason why. Anyway, so the inspector, incredibly important, right? Probably the first person you should have look at the house. Mm-hmm. When you go look at the house, bring your inspector with you. So anyway, it's number one. Oh, yeah. Then number two is the real estate agents are very important because of a variety of things. Number one, they're going to know the market. They're going to know the area. They're going to know if that house really is worth what they say it's worth, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people will say, well, houses in this area. So let's just use 500,000 as a number, right? Houses in this area sell for 500, and they want 525, right? It's a little more updated, so it's worth 525. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. What's the square footage of the house? How much what kind of land are we talking about, right? What kind of taxes are we talking about?
The neighborhood,
right? The school district is huge, yep. Right? The realtor's going to know all that.
Yes.
You know how much research you're going to have to put in, and even then, you're still not going to get it all right because you're not in that world. Mm-hmm. You might not understand the little nuances between neighborhoods and school districts. So a realtor is worth their weight in gold when it comes to buying a house.
So I'm in a unique situation where I actually private bought and private sold a house.
Right.
But there were still people that you needed involved. Like you still need the title person.
Yep.
We needed to get an attorney.
Yep.
The only reason you wouldn't use a realtor is because you think you're going to save 3% as a seller.
Right.
Right, 3 to 6% as a seller.
Right.
That's what this entire.
So on a $500,000 house, that's $15,000.
Correct.
Which sounds like a lot of money, but here's the thing: number one, the realtor is usually going to get you more than what you're going to be able to get yourself
as a seller.
If they have a network, and number two, they're going to move it a heck of a lot faster than you ever would. Mm-hmm. But go ahead.
Yeah. But that's why all of this stuff about the real estate stuff started is because of the real estate the real estate agents' commissions.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that are fighting over this. Now, do I think if you're selling, and most people don't realize that for most instances, you can negotiate those terms.
Absolutely.
Right? You can negotiate the percentage that they take. There are certain brokerages that say we won't work with you for less than 3%.
Yeah, go somewhere else.
But, there's a huge difference between selling an $80,000 condo in Mississippi and selling a $7 million estate in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Or the middle of that, which
correct.
is the $500,000 home, which goes right very quickly.
So, I get what they're trying to do with this.
I mean, that's for sale by owner.
It is for sale.
It's for sale by owner. That's their concept.
And what he's talking about is being able to pre-qualify people using AI, having it do background checks, whatever is needed, which I think is all fine and dandy, right?
Yeah, I have no problem with the idea, no, at all.
People just need to understand that probably a vast chunk of the documents would not be able to be AI generated.
Right.
Your title search
cannot
cannot be
AI generated. No way.
So there's all these things that in an ideal world, could this happen? Yeah, maybe the day we get deeds to go on a blockchain.
Yeah.
Right. Which is where I think they belong.
Yeah.
Because it's far easier to verify than it is the way we do it now. But until we get to that point, yes, this is great for people that want to do for sale by owner, but it's never going to get to the extent that he's saying it should be right now.
Right.
Not saying it's a bad idea. Great idea.
But it's way too early to put the AI toward the vast majority of this. Quite frankly, with the exception of maybe pre-qualifying you, because you can put nice algorithms in there that AI could read and qualify you based off of your income and such. As far as the paperwork goes, no, you can't AI that yet.
But so, yes, if your goal is to set something up that eliminates the real estate agent, it's a for sale by owner system that takes it maybe one step further and makes sure that I can't reach out to the seller before I'm pre-qualified or pre-approved, whatever.
Right.
That's fine. But just understand that's probably as far as you're going to be able to take it now, would be my guess.
When we bought the house that we're in now, we were living in another house, which we rented out for 5 years while we lived in the new house. So we had an investment property, so to speak. And then when those people were moving out, we decided we were going to sell that house. Now, I was an attorney at that point. I could sell the house on my own, as I know how to do that kind of thing, right? I would not recommend and that's as an experienced attorney.
Yep.
I would not recommend it to anybody that if you don't know what you're doing, selling a house on your own, you can do it. No question about it. But man, you could be setting yourself up for so many trouble, so much trouble, so many disasters.
So the private sale that I did, and now I'll give you the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Is we sold my wife's house to her brother.
Okay.
Now, in that instance, if you are doing something like that, I would absolutely say forego the realtor.
Yeah, of course. Right? You don't need that.
You're still going to need the mortgage person. You're still going to need all those people.
I do have a hack to that, but go ahead.
Yeah. The reason we did it that way is because we found out that we were able to gift equity to him.
Yep.
So that he would not have to come up with a down payment.
Right.
If he would have had to pay for a realtor, basically what we would have paid for a realtor, we gifted as equity instead. And it was a great way for him not to have to come up with a big down payment. It got him under the rate of having to pay mortgage insurance.
Right.
So it made sense in every way for us to not use a realtor in that case. But in the vast majority, it's if you had the choice of trying to negotiate a $10 million deal yourself or getting a master negotiator to come negotiate it, which one would you pick?
Of course.
Right? Yeah. Unless you are a master negotiator, you're going to pick that guy. I kind of feel like, I'm not saying that's every realtor, but when you find the right realtor, that is absolutely what you're getting.
So if you are going to go down as you were talking about the private sale road, self-help road, so to speak, you can still use a realtor and not pay very much. I'll tell you how you do it. So what you do is you hire a realtor as the transaction agent. You pay him maybe 1% of the transaction, right? And it's worth every penny, and here's why. If you don't do that, You have to get your own agreements, still have to do the title search, do all those things, right? You have to hire an attorney to do it. You better not be writing your own contract for a sale of a property. You better not be writing your own contract.
Correct.
Because it can come back and bite you 20 years from now. So the realtors have all that stuff. They've already been vetted. They use them for transactions every day. Hire a realtor at 1% as the transaction agent. They'll love to do it because they're making money off of just handling the transaction.
Yep.
They don't have to go out and promote and do all the open houses and all that stuff.
No, that's all you.
Yeah. And so that's where you still get the realtor. You can ask some questions, whatever you need to do, but they're handling the transaction now as opposed to doing the other
You're
thing.
handling the marketing, sales, showing.
Exactly.
All the like
And
hard
that
work
is,
that the realtors do.
That is not easy work.
Oh, no.
People think, oh yeah, it's just a couple of open houses. Let me tell you what an open house is.
But not even that. Like a friend of mine who's a realtor said, like, I didn't realize how much planning and prep work and all that stuff just for me to go look at a house. She's like, if you call me and say, hey, I want to go look at that house, she's like, every time you do that, it's probably 20 to 30 minutes worth of work for me.
Yeah.
Just to see if you can actually go see the house at that time, whether someone's going to be home.
Yeah.
She's like,
kids might be doing something.
correct.
Can't come
She's
over
like,
yet, you know?
She's like, yes, they list times where you are supposedly be able to do it, but like I have to confirm it with the other realtor. The realtor has to call. She's like, it's a pain. So if you have to go show someone 11 houses,
yeah,
that time adds up, right?
It does.
And then the travel time and going out, and the realtor, a good realtor will be able to walk through a house, and when you walk out, they're probably going to go, maybe we should lowball this one, right?
Like, exactly. You're not going to know that.
No.
Now, look, I'm not saying there aren't people out there who flip houses and understand the innuendos of houses, but the average Joe does not.
No. I mean,
and they think they do. They think it's easy enough to just walk in. It is not.
But flippers and investors are professional real estate people. Right?
They are. They
is,
really are.
So is a realtor.
Yeah.
So, yes, I love this idea. I think it would be good for a lot of reasons. If we can ultimately get to a point where we don't need any of this stuff, that would be great. Do I think realistically that's going to happen? I think we're decades away from it.
I do. I agree.
Decades.
I love the idea of the deeds on the blockchain. That's a fantastic idea. That's exactly where they should be. It's exactly where they should be.
So someone asked me the other day, what would be the absolute best use of a blockchain?
Yeah.
And I told them for simplicity purposes, deeds.
Deeds. What a great idea.
Card titles.
Yeah.
Those are the types of things that should be on the blockchain.
They absolutely should be. You're right.
Right?
There are still, you're not going to believe this, but there are still townships in this country that use books.
Yes.
For their deed recording.
Yeah.
It's the actual books where they write and you can't go online and get the information.
No.
You have to request it online. Someone scans it and then sends it to you.
Yes. When we have
Are you kidding me?
no.
What?
But yes. But yes. When we say what is a functional purpose of something, because people still don't understand blockchains, and I'm not going to pretend like I understand all the technology behind it, right? But I understand it well enough that I can look around and go, there are a gazillion things that could belong on the blockchain.
Yeah.
You could put things like anything that is a keeping track of something.
It's a ledger. That's
correct.
all it is a ledger.
But keeping track of something, because I've even gotten to the point where I'm arguing that we should have things like passports and driver's licenses on some sort of blockchain.
Yeah, you could. Sure. Why not?
Right? So like the frequent flyer, the quick entry program and stuff, right? Like that's all just a bunch of information that's currently sitting in a database. When you walk through, it scans your face.
Yeah.
Right? And they have to charge you a gazillion dollars, or not a gazillion. It's like $100 a year, whatever it is.
Right.
Like, why does it have to be that way? There's got to be a better way where there's some type of consensus that I am who I say I am.
Yeah.
Because my thing with that is, when I look at the opposite of that, is when you get put on a no-fly list. Why do you get put on a no-fly list? because most people have no clue why
clue.
they, right?
No clue why.
And there's no process of getting off a no-fly list, right?
Nope.
And it's because your name may sound similar
Like
or be the same as someone else's, and therefore you can't. But there's no process to get you off that list, as far as I understand, or there wasn't back in the day. There might be now.
I don't know that there is today.
Well, they've been bringing attention to it and trying to fight it. So there might be a process today. Yeah. I haven't looked it up recently. But I'm like, there's got to be a way through some kind of, ledger or verification system that we know that two Frank Millers aren't the same Frank Miller.
Right.
So, like, how do we solve that? That's the type of stuff I want to see put in a general ledger. It also makes things like age verification.
Yeah.
Like, we no longer have to fight about whether this person is 13 years old and can log on to Meta.
Right.
Right? Australia, just put a ban on social media, anybody under 16? Well, who is responsible for verifying that? How do we track that? How do we know they're not 16?
Yeah.
Because the ledger information can technically be somewhat anonymous, right?
Very much so.
So, the only person that has to know who that anonymous...
You can verify
Correct.
Without having to give information back. You
Exactly.
say, does this match? That's all you need to know if it matches or not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did we'll call it a thesis. It wasn't really a thesis, but we'll call it a thesis in law school for a class. The class was the research. The whole class was 2 credit class was just research. And I came up with a way to use the blockchain for copyrights.
Yeah.
Right? What a great way of knowing. I mean, now they do it with NFTs, of course, but
Correct.
What a great way of knowing who owns the copyright to certain things and who has licenses from a registered copyright holder to do X, Y, and Z. Because that system is a disaster.
Oh, trust me.
What a disaster.
I get emails from Adobe and
all the time
going, oh, you don't have permission to use this.
Yeah.
And I have to log into their site
Right.
and pull the data and be like, you could just embed my license code into the image when I download it, and you wouldn't have to...
You would never know.
No.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to even, email me to check. I wouldn't have to submit the proof to you.
Yep.
Because the proof would be in the image itself.
Yeah. And I did it based off of 3D printing because one of the big issues was, this is when 3D printers were first coming out, and one of the big issues was, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to stop people from printing Mickey Mouse? Right. And, and how's Disney going to get their so it was a whole thing with using the blockchain to say, okay, well, Disney owns the rights to this. This image has been used in these various print formats. So anytime someone uses that print format, Disney will get a piece of, you're using the digital coins to pay them, et cetera. It was a whole thing. It was actually really, really cool. I wish I would have implemented it.
I know. But
so you're right. There's so many things you can do with blockchain. There's so many things.
And I think once we get to that point, that simplifies the real estate transaction part.
Yes.
Just the transaction part.
Right.
Not the understanding the condition of it.
But the transaction itself, that's what Ethereum is, right? So, the smart contracts.
Yeah. So theoretically, with something like this, let's say that they move deeds to the blockchain.
Yep.
Now a system like this would make perfect sense.
Yep.
Because now, okay, I wanna buy your house. Here, I filled out this stuff. The AI checks me out and they go, yep, he's been pre-approved. He can buy your house. He can afford it. The next step is, okay, I'm going to send out someone to inspect it.
Yep.
Right? And then the inspection report gets fed back into like an AI because not all inspectors phrase things in a way the consumer understands. The AI takes the inspection report, sends it back to me, does the comp with houses of similar condition in similar areas and goes, you're probably overpaying for this by $80,000. Just be aware of that. Here are the issues. Yeah. Right?
Like, I'll tell you where else that could come in handy as well. So in my neighborhood, our neighborhood was built, I think, in 2003. So all the houses were built in 2003. And between 2015 and 2020, every house had the exact same issue with the pipe, the sewer pipe. No, the sewer pipe from the street to the house, where it connected to the house. Every single one of them rusted through and fell apart.
Yeah.
Right? Ours was one of the first because we were actually doing something and kind of caught it before it fell apart, and we were able to take care of it. Whereas other people's, theirs fell apart and then their sewers all backed up and everything. Okay. But my point, what I'm trying to get at is, if an inspector goes out and looks at a house down the street, and then another inspector goes, and they all happen to start finding issues that are similar, right? It can also alert people, because now you have a database of all this stuff.
Correct.
It can alert people, hey, you might want to look at this.
This is why, and this is kind of funny that you bring this up, because one of the realtors that I used for a real estate transaction once actually said, I have an inspector that's done 6 inspections in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's who we're going to use.
Yeah.
And that inspector was able to go in and, based on historically what he had found in the other houses, found the exact same problem in that house.
But if it wasn't the same inspector, they wouldn't have known.
Correct.
Exactly. So a new inspector could come in, if it's off blockchain or something, and have the notes of the other houses, what's similar, and might be able to find things.
Yeah, so there are certain...
I love this.
Let's
do it.
I know. So there are certain rules and stuff, like what you can share from an inspection and stuff.
Of course.
But like if you put that anonymous so that I can't access the report,
right.
But there's a system that can look at reports
AI
from
can
houses.
review it, yeah.
And then say, hey, even like when you order the inspector would get a report of here's issues, known issues in this neighborhood.
Without any other details, just known issues in this area. Exactly.
Dude, sellers would hate that and buyers would love it. But
But you know what? You got to protect the buyers. You got to.
I know.
The sellers.
Did we just identify something that is a problem
that can easily be solved? Not easily, but
no. But even so, let's take all the real estate stuff out of it.
Yeah.
Let's take the buying and the selling out of it. Let's go back to the root of the problem. That in many developments, because the builder is the same, the contractors are the same, the materials are the same, there are probably going to be similar problems within developments.
Yeah.
So if we could find a way to tap into all home inspections done in neighborhoods.
What if it's not even home inspections, just home repairs? Right? We'll call it house facts.
House facts. Yeah. But
no,
like,
seriously. Right?
Yeah.
It's not just inspections, it's home repairs. And I'm not talking about additions being built on.
This could even be done for the consumer.
Yeah.
Like if you are in a neighborhood and you want to look up what are some common failure rates of items in my... This is actually ingenious.
This is what we do.
No,
we come up with ideas.
But this is like, that is genuinely because like the neighborhood that I'm in, that was all built in like 70s and 80s.
Okay.
Everybody in my area has the same problem.
Right.
Is that they get these, our foundation cracks.
Oh.
Because it's built on clay.
Yeah.
Well, over years...
Right.
If you have any type of water issues, anything, the clay will move your foundation.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a known problem in my development that foundations crack. And it's not a huge deal, right? Because it's not like it's going to fall into a sinkhole. But there's enough movement because concrete isn't exactly a flexible product.
Right.
It's enough that a lot of them have cracked. I could have gone and looked that up in like... Know about my home.
Yeah.
I actually I own a domain we could use for this too.
You want to build it? I'll build it.
So I own a domain called Homeowners in the Know.
Oh, okay.
Like
there you go.
This would be there's currently a website up there, but like we could totally scrap that website for this idea. But like, yeah, just imagine if we would just allow people to put in their address and just report what issues have been with their house.
Yeah, the people aren't going to do it. It's going to have to be the contractors. The contractors have to be. It's like when you go to a mechanic and the mechanic reports it. You had the oil change and stuff like that.
But you're still going to get a percentage of people that would partake. Once
I guess.
Again, right? Because it comes back
to one incentive.
Remember when we were talking about the whole trading video game things? Like, why would I lend you a game? And I said, well, there's always a certain percentage that's willing to do it, because realistically, if you have 100 people in a development and you can get 6 of them to do this, 6 isn't a large sample, but if all 6 have a sewer line failure, there's probably red flags that should go up for the other 94 to at least have it inspected.
Sure. My concern with the relying on the homeowners to do it is they're going to call it different things. You're going to put the wrong thing in there. They're going to say it was an electrical issue and actually had nothing to do with the circuit breaker. You know, when you have the professionals doing it, they're the ones that are going to tell you the real things that happened. Maybe.
Yeah, I know.
But I know what you're getting at.
But I don't think the contractors would do it, like, because it's one extra step that they're not getting anything for.
Well, again, how do they become incentivized? Why do mechanics do it?
Why do what?
Why do mechanics report to Carfax every time you do something with your car?
They don't.
They do.
No, the insurance company does. if I go to a body shop,
Yeah. No, that's repairs. I go get my oil changed. Every time I get my oil changed, it's on my Carfax. Every time.
really?
Yes.
Because mine just estimates it.
I will. I have the Carfax right here. I'll show you. Shows you where I went there, and what my mileage was.
Did you ever sign your car up for Carfax?
No, the first time I actually pulled the Carfax because we're selling it.
No. Maybe it's an integrated system.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it could be.
It tells you they rotated the tires.
Correct.
We've gone there before to get new tires. New tires were put on.
Because I can tell you,
it's
like,
all on there.
when I went to my little local mechanic up the street,
Yeah,
none of that
nothing
would
is
show
recorded?
up. No, when
I
I
wonder
go to
why some do it and
when
some
I go
don't.
to one of the big chains,
Yeah.
that shows up. So there's
Why?
got to be
Right. What's the reason why?
they must be feeding, just like the insurance companies feed damage
that
information.
I get.
Right?
That I get.
So they could be doing it to increase the integrity. Like Carfax could be paying for this information.
Ah, interesting.
Right. So just like OpenAI pays for certain information to add value to their platform, Carfax could be buying this information.
I have a couple of mechanic friends that I know for certain they put everything on Carfax. Every time something happens, or let's put it this way, they report it somewhere and it winds up on the Carfax.
Correct. So
let's find out what that is.
Most of them have a software that they use.
Right.
So it could be in the terms and condition of the software people that they are allowed to report certain things to Carfax.
I know how to do this. Oh, we're talking about this offline. I know how to do this.
Okay.
I got it. I got the answer. We'll talk about it separately.
Okay.
All right. I don't want to give this one away.
Did we just come up with a business idea
Of course
on
we did.
our own show?
Yes, of course we did.
So
that's how it works.
So should we build it or scrap it?
Oh no, we're building it.
Okay.
Oh, we're building this one.
Okay.
No, I have a really good idea on how to do this.
But it's fascinating. But this all started because of real estate agreements. But
yeah,
I think once again, to his concept, I love the idea.
Yep.
I love the idea. If you could get it to the point, if you only got it to the point of post inspection,
yep,
like that would be far enough along in the process.
It's a great start.
And then from that point on, you get the professionals involved.
Yep.
Like AI steps out of it at that point, but up until inspection report is complete, I'm ready to make an offer. You could even just understand that when you accept an offer, you are accepting the offer, right?
Yes.
And then the rest of it has to be flushed out based on I'm making this offer based on you making these repairs.
Right.
Right. Like, so there's all kinds of conditional things in the offer. But you could even get AI to help you figure out what your offer should be.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
A realtor would probably be a better choice, but you could have AI come up with it. So.
Yeah. You realize we're almost an hour in. We're only like 2 questions.
Really?
Yeah.
But this one tied into so many different things, though. Like, because we just covered.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, but it's crazy. But this is how it works. The mind just keeps going in different directions, and you start piecing things together.
Somebody's going to be listening to this episode and coming up with 2 different ideas.
Yeah.
Because they saw 2 different problems that we overlooked in this conversation.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Please do. And tell us about it. It's great.
So, yes, we support this idea to offer stage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I support the idea.
Yeah.
I don't like the title that he has here, cut out real estate agents, because you're not exactly cutting out real estate agents.
You're minimizing their involvement.
Yeah, you're minimizing their involvement,
Yes.
which means you can negotiate with them for a lower price.
Agreed.
All right. If you like what you saw in the clips, don't forget to subscribe as well. Let us know what you think by leaving some information in the comments.